Welcome back to the Cosmic Mistress podcast. My name's Amanda, and today we have Collin Chartier here with us. Collin, I'd love for you to share just a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into more of a little bit of your story.
Cool. Thanks, Amanda, for having me on. I don't really know how to define what I do necessarily. I've done a lot of things. I was a professional triathlete for 8 years. I then got suspended for doping, lost my identity as an athlete, which was over 20 years. I was an athlete and ended up being, I guess, free to explore different parts of myself. And I got into breathwork, became a certified coach, been doing that for over 2 years, got into real estate. I got really good at that, burnt out, left that. And now just kind of deep diving into coaching, but now I've learned more AI skills. So I've launched a breathwork nervous system regulation app, working on a online coaching course, and I'm getting ready to run across the US.
No big deal.
As my running home project.
Awesome. Yeah. And your app is called Ground or
Ground app.
Ground app. I downloaded it.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. I would love for you to share a little bit around, so Cosmic Mistress podcast. I love people sharing not only like what their heaven on earth would look like, but also their journey into becoming a powerful creator. Because oftentimes we see like the highlight reel, we see people who doing really amazing things, making an impact, living like such an awesome life. And it's like, that's not always the full truth of how they got to where they're at. And you're doing really impactful, amazing things. I view you as a powerful creator. So I would love for you to share a little bit around the hero's journey and Dark Night of the Soul and what you moved through and what you learned.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. But I think it always, behind the scenes, you never see what's really going on internally. And so for most of my life, what was driving me was not enough. And so no matter what I achieved, which was some big wins in the sport of triathlon and being 11th ranked in the world.
11th ranked in the world.
And I was still not enough. Yeah. It was like, I won the biggest race of my life and it was in Dallas. And immediately it was like, but, so-and-so wasn't there. It doesn't count. Like, I'm still not there. And my focus was immediately toward the next race, which was like in 3 weeks. I was like, I'm really just focused on the world championship. So there was no point of actually, celebrating. Because I think that's what is underlying at many, many successful people is like that drive to continuously build comes from a place of often brokenness, at least in my case. And I think with many others who can probably relate. And whether it doesn't matter where you are in that spectrum, especially if you hadn't achieved the highest goals yet, you're probably still on that spectrum. It's the same exact thing.
I think it's a beautiful way to become motivated. On some level, we all have that feeling of like brokenness or feeling bad or wrong or not enough. Like it's very relatable on some level. Like we've felt like that at one point or another. And I think that can either really become super heavy or that can become fuel to want to do something about it. But at some point we have to switch our motivation and change our why behind why we're doing the things that we're doing, because we'll never actually get there.
Yeah, that's a concept my sports psychologist used with me was like the different, like what is the toxic fuel that's driving you versus the rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And I had at that point struggled to really define what my rocket fuel was. Because that rocket fuel has to transcend oneself. And I was still very much stuck in toxic fuel to drive and push to validate myself and to feel my needs to be seen or recognized. And instead, like when you start to learn, that's that push-pull. So I was very much pushing. My motivation was to push. But when you have a pull motivation, that's like the rocket fuel, which is some goal greater than just myself to have an impact, to share with others, to give and contribute. that motivation will just pull me and everyone else for so much more than what we can push.
Totally. So what did it take for you to learn, or what did it take for you to get there, to get to understanding that you needed the rocket fuel and not the toxic fuel? Like, what had to happen?
Yeah, I had to lose my identity, my career, made decisions that I was using performance enhancing drugs and then got suspended. And that, the moment I got that phone call after I hung up, like I was kind of like a, freeze response, like a deer in the headlights. And during this phone call, it was like an hour and a half where I was being kind of like interrogated, plus then at the end, given the news. It was actually just relief. It was like that weight that I was carrying around, that pressure and expectation that was unspoken, was like I needed to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
Was finally gone. And that I wasn't aware was there until it was taken off. That's
so wild that it takes something that big and that detrimental to happen in order to become aware of it. And it's, I'm curious too, the weight of that. Where do you feel like the weight of that came from? Like, who put that weight there?
I think we always put that weight on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because even like, I spent this like 6 months afterwards where I was like running away, but in a way of like creating space to think about like, how did I get here? What was driving me? And so that was a bike trip from California through Mexico, Central America, and Colombia. That was 10,000 miles.
Literally ran very far away.
I biked.
Yeah,
biked
very far away.
Yeah, as far south as you can go.
Yeah.
And that was a period of trying to understand what, because I really was not aware or conscious of what was driving me. And a lot of it, I had to like interview my parents, like what was childhood like all of these things to understand how I got there, to reveal whatever was unconscious. And breathwork was a huge part of that, because it was during a breathwork retreat in Nicaragua where I had never experienced anything like this before, and I had never done psychedelics. And it was just like, I was just, hyperventilating. We had done like bouncing, jumping up and down, breathing, and then laying down. And, actual memories came to mind and tension in my body. And I was able to like let go. After that, I felt an incredible lightness, especially since I was still very heavy in shame and guilt. That was like a very liberating experience to help connect why I had made those decisions. A lot of it was confusing my parents' praise as love, and knowing my position as with my brothers as the middle child of attention. So to get attention and have praise as an athlete was really how I guess received or felt loved.
Yeah, it sounds like it really allowed you to separate praise and what actual love is.
Yeah.
So would you say too that, that experience with breath work and having those insights coming in and the experience of, oh, actually this is praise and actually that wasn't love, but this is love. Is that what led you into feeling more like you were enough?
I think I'm always still, working on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm there necessarily yet. And I'm always evaluating. I was like, oh, why am I doing this next project? Like, is this for me? Like, can I, sit with that? What is that love, self-love, love from God, love from parents? Like how do we organize that in my brain, but also in the heart? How do I feel that? And in my relationship now with my girlfriend, a lot of that, it's been like sitting with that love. Like I can't give this love that I want to give this person unless it comes from a place of like, I have to accept that love. And so I'm learning to receive and accept the love for me and all the brokenness and all that. Like I have to be able to do that. And that's been a huge game changer this last few months.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Yeah, I think it's really interesting too, because the experience of like really allowing yourself to receive love from someone comes with a lot of pain. Like when you really let the fullness of that in, you're met with the parts of yourself that still don't feel worthy enough to have it.
Yeah. It's the worthiness.
Yeah.
And that's the same experience, which was like grace. The concept, like the grace of God, is like to receive something that we feel like we don't deserve. So like, oh, but I don't deserve this. I've messed up. Da, da, da. But then it's like, well, here's a gift. You don't have to do anything to earn it.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the church, so I had an understanding of grace and mercy is like, not getting what you do deserve or getting something you don't deserve. But it wasn't real. Like I didn't know it until after a very public downfall. And my friends in Boulder, I'm actually having dinner with tonight, is like a Bible study group, very casual, just more of a steak dinner. And but he called me up that day. It was like, you're coming tomorrow. And that was like the very hard thing, to receive the invitation to a table where I felt unworthy. So that was like, and I showed up in tears. So was him, and just embraced. And like, that was the gift. Yeah. I never felt that before. But then in turn, having received that, I'm just so much more capable of giving that to others.
Totally.
But before I was able to receive it, I just wasn't able to give it. It was very much when someone messed up, I was judgmental, or like, you messed up, instead of actually coming from a place of, I've received this before and you deserve it too.
I love that. Yeah. And it's so important to have those people in your life that hold you and are with you when you're not at your best. Yeah. And because that's the unconditional love piece, right? And to know that you don't have to be perfect, and you're allowed to fuck up, and you're allowed to be human. Yeah. Yeah. That's really beautiful. So now you're about to run home. And so what kind of shifted for you after the experience of biking super far away, coming into the new experience of, shifting your reality with your identity, as well as how you experience like praise and love, separating those two things? What shifted when you came back, as far as like your ability to create a different life?
I think there was a lot of insecurity, especially coming from only knowing, being an athlete, was like, I don't have a resume, I don't have a job, I don't have experience, everything I don't have. And that was a big block to be like, well, all of my peers have been working for 8 years and, or progressing in their careers. Like, what can I do? So that was an obstacle to overcome, but just through taking action. And I didn't necessarily change immediately, because I got into real estate and quickly became the same obsessiveness for performance. And in my first year, did over 21 deals, over $11 million in sales. So like, by all metrics, first year realtors do 1 to 2 deals a year. So like, I had already just, getting praise from people in the brokerage. And then immediately I remember us sitting down to plan next year. And I was like, I'm going to double what I did the first year. And I'd already worked like weekends, holidays, just like I would leave the house in the morning, come back, and I go drive around all day, just same commitment. And I realized I'd just done the same thing I did in sport. It was just use my identity and put that with something I'm good at and successful at. Yeah. And so I stepped back. But I was aware enough to catch myself before it became a path that had more consequences. Because the further I go down that path, the more. Or before you switched to even
something else and did the same thing somewhere else. Yeah.
That was the big leap of faith last spring. And it came from last spring was like fear. And it started with skiing. So I love skiing. And since I was like in high school, I wanted to do a backflip. And I was like doing a lot of skiing last year. So I got to springtime and I was like, this is it. Found the cliff. And I was like mentally rehearsed myself, had invited my friends to come watch, right? All the steps of like being accountable. And then did like, I visualized it all night. I knew it was just like throw yourself back, rotation. And I remember just how heart pounding, just so I took 5 breaths. and then just went. And I didn't rotate enough. I crashed. Skis came off, but I was totally fine. So it was like that moment of just like, I'm fine. Everything blocking me was fear. And that dialogue of just like, you could break your back and and it's like, what am I going to choose to focus on?
Totally.
And most of the times, like that fear is just created in our imagination.
Totally.
So I hiked back up, did it again, sent it way bigger. I went like 35 feet and huge laid out backflip and landed. And I kind of hurt my shins for a while, but I was fine.
Yeah.
And that was the physical, because my whole life has been physical, unlocked a level of pursuing fear to be like, it's okay.
Wow.
And so I hosted my first breathwork retreat, which I was scared to do, right? When you're booked Airbnb or pay the deposit and you're like, will anyone show up? How, am I going to lose money? Like, am I going to be a fraud? All of the things that people will go through when they're trying to do something new.
You're like, book it, same laptop.
You're like,
we'll see.
Oh, okay. And then that all came together perfectly, and people came to help, and 15 people came, and it was an awesome weekend. That was actually last year, this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that then still was in real estate. There was a very like push-pull. Like I still didn't know what I was feeling. So for like a month and a half, I wasn't really myself. It was just
in between.
It was just every day would be like, I want to do this. I want to do that. It was just, I didn't know. I just knew I didn't want to be doing what I was doing.
That's a beautiful place to be though, because you're like in between one version of yourself to the next. And really your only job is to follow what's alive and to wait for the call of what's next.
Yeah. But I'm not very good at waiting.
Most people aren't. None of us are.
Yeah. And then so that was like another month and a half, 2 months after the retreat. I was sitting down with the owner of the brokerage. Instead of waiting, like I just decide. And I think people who make decisions progress a lot faster, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the right decision. It's just make a decision and pursue it until it's like obvious to pursue something else. So I'm good at that. So I decided to go to a different part of real estate, which is called wholesaling, which in my mind is a lot more lucrative, from a guy I met in the sauna. He's of course still a friend of mine. And I was like, yes, I had a contract ready to go, sat down with the owner of the real estate brokerage. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And he was like, well, he knows about breathwork and retreat. He's like, well, what do you really want to do? And he's like, what's stopping you from, if you're going to try to get money to then do coaching and breathwork, like what's stopping you from just going right there? In that moment of just my whole body, fear, sweating, shaking, just in that instance. And I knew enough at that point to be like, that's just fear. So then I
went all in on yourself. Yeah.
So just these small moments of taking that leap of faith, and listening to the signs, and it's not all warm fuzzy. It's like fear.
No, totally. And that's totally normal too. And to follow that and to still trust yourself. It's not going to be comfortable. Yeah. I think too, it's interesting how we make choices that are like just adjacent to the thing that we actually want, because it's a little bit safer.
Safer.
Yeah.
Certainty.
Yeah. So now you are breathwork, you're doing coaching, you're all in on that. How is all of that going?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's always shifting too, because I was like, I'm going to go back to triathlon coaching. And so I picked up triathlon clients. But then a lot of the work we were really doing was more of mental training, mindset. And not mindset, because I don't like using that word, but it's your model. How do you think? Where is it coming from?
So kind of
reprogramming, using breath work to allow us to make changes in the nervous system.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
auditing self-talk, because I think the way we speak to ourselves is our psychology. So we need to make those changes. And the little changes in people's performance in triathlon improve immensely. So that was like, okay, well, anybody can coach. Not anybody. A lot of people can coach, and AI can coach training programs, but like the real work, I can help with is through this.
Yeah. And the most impactful coaching is also relational. So like there's only so far you can go with an AI.
Yeah.
And there's also only so far you can go with certain types of coaches as well. And it's really helpful to have somebody that has also been through a similar experience that you're going through to coach you through it. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I've already been through that. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have my mind in that and my body in that space. And that's what people need, right? It's the relational piece.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the running away at the beginning and now you're running home.
Yes.
Is what you mentioned. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Running Home project is I spent 12 years in the Northern Virginia, DC area. And so I'm going to run from Boulder, actually, on June 13th. My buddy Eric Hinman's hosting the toughest mile at the CU Boulder Stadium. So there'll be sauna, cold plunge, events, DJ.
What is toughest mile?
So it's a lap is 400 meters, so a mile is 4 laps.
Mm-hmm.
And you do like a bear crawl for 400 meters, a lunging for 400 meters, burpee broad jump for 400 meters, and then run 400 meters.
Wowza. That does sound like the hardest
and there's
mile.
be a bunch of people hanging out, supporting each other. Like you'll see people on different laps, and everyone's super supportive community in all ages. I mean, there's people in their 70s doing this.
Wow.
So that will be the toughest mile, which is a great like metaphor to be like, this is a 2,000-mile run I'm about to do. But the toughest mile is the first one. Because most people don't make it to the start. Mm-hmm. They've already given up or like been like, I can't do it, or given into fear and all the roadblocks. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really cool representation of this run. Is the toughest part is the first one, the first mile.
Just starting.
And then running home is also a hard thing. The first book I read on the bike trip when I was leaving and running away was Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey. Mm-hmm. And so that concept of like, I need to go out, go experience something, go travel, get these insights, learn something through breathwork. And I was like, oh, it clicked for me. And then there's a choice to go out and just stay out traveling. Some of the people I met traveling have been traveling for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And so the other travelers were like, wow, that's amazing. You're just traveling for 7 years. Then I was like, you're just running away for 7 years. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is actually coming home. Mm-hmm. So then that completed that little cycle. Instead of going to Argentina, which was my goal, I actually ended in Colombia, which was hard for me to not finish what I said I was going to do. Mm. But that was important because it didn't matter. That was a very external like goal, but the internal goal was already met. So that I had like I wanted to go home. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I'm still like I have yet to finish this triathlon journey because my doping suspension is about up, and people are like, are you coming back? Are you not? And Virginia and DC is where I grew up in triathlon. And this community I was in, churches I was involved in as a youth pastor, like all those people I haven't been back to see. So this is actually like I want to close this chapter well.
How do you envision all of that going? Are you excited to see the community?
Yeah, I'm excited. I envision several hundred people coming to that last stretch. Is going on the C&O Canal path through Georgetown, and then from Georgetown to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Wow! So it'd be really cool to have like really cool. tons of family and friends join me for that last bit and finish on the National Mall.
That's awesome. And you're going to be vlogging this whole thing? Are people going to be able to watch your journey, or are you going to
Instagram? I'll do my best on TikTok. I don't know. Probably some YouTube, but definitely Instagram. I'm okay at that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on Instagram or YouTube if they want to watch your journey?
Collin Chartier. So that's Instagram.
And we'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
I would love to know from all of your lived experience and from where you're at now, what your heaven on earth would be like.
Heaven on earth would be
personal.
Yeah.
Can be.
I mean, would be to be surrounded by the people I love and to see every, moment and every day as like a gift and an opportunity.
I love that.
To show up and to be present. And a lot of it, right, is actually like internal. It's even in the Bible, it's like the kingdom of heaven is within. So most people are trying to seek this like wealth and riches and all these other things, but you'll never get there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually true. Like, can I find that inner peace and love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. And then last question for anyone, as we all are always growing into our enoughness and really understanding our worthiness, is there any advice you would give somebody who is just on that journey of like unbinding to the not enoughness, or something you wish you would have known when you were in the middle of, like your dark night of the soul stuff?
I don't know if there's anything I would have advised myself differently, because I needed to go through it.
Totally.
And I think everyone does. But if somebody's still working on the enoughness, is to take an audit of where we're seeking that enoughness in other people or in other things, especially in our career. It's like, I'll be enough when I get that, I become this, or in our relationships. And it's like, that can only be found within. Yeah.
So true. I do that probably like once a year. I do a journal prompt for myself where it's like, when will I be enough though? And then I just like free write.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, let those parts of me that still don't feel like they're enough, just kind of give them space to express.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Collin. This was great to have you. Is there anything else you'd like to share as far as anything else you have going on? Any offerings, stuff with your app, anything?
I've got one more sauna breathwork meditation event I do left before I leave. It's at Rock Spas. It's in Denver. It's called my favorite event because it's 3 rounds of sauna, 2 cold plunge. So sauna, cold, sauna, cold. And you can do cold at the end too. But it's in the night, so it's 7 p.m. And we start with like red light in the sauna, bumping tunes, very like stimulating breath work. So there's some harder
and you're
breathing.
Guiding this?
Yeah, I'm guiding it all. And you do just breath holds. Like it's designed, it's really hot.
Cool.
So most people are like hanging on for dear life in the
like
first
hold
round.
my hand as I stand up and try to get out of here.
People are, having to leave because it's so hot. And, we get out, cold plunge. It's super social. So there's over 35 people. And it's a chance to be like coming for yourself, but doing it in a really cool, supportive community. In the second round, we go either like blue light or green light, and music is more down regulating. We do breath work that is more, parasympathetic. So just slower breathing, coherent breathing, trying not to be too challenging. And then come out, cold plunge, and then the last round is complete darkness. Turn all the lights off.
Ooh.
And it's like, meditative music. I'll lead a body scan or a different kind of meditation. And it's just a really special culmination of the couple of years I've done the sauna events.
Nice.
And yeah.
When is that?
That is May 27th, Wednesday night.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.